The forest was still, the kind of quiet that only happens at dusk. A lone cat, Whiskers, walked through the trees, unaware of the danger that silently followed her. She sniffed the air, her tail flicking as she roamed deeper into the woods. But out of the shadows, something was closing in, a tiger, eyes glowing with hunger. Its paws were soft against the ground, making no sound, but its intentions were clear. Whiskers turned her head, sensing something was off. Her ears pricked up, and she froze, but it was too late. The tiger leapt from the bushes, its teeth bared, its claws ready to strike. Whiskers bolted, her heart racing, but the tiger was too fast. Every step she took, the tiger was closer. In the distance, Max, a dog with a heart full of courage, heard the sounds of struggle. His ears twitched. Without a second thought, he raced toward the noise. He didn't know what he was about to face, but he knew one thing. The cat needed help. Would Max be able to reach her in time, or would the tiger's hunger prove too strong? Whiskers had always loved wandering the forest. To her, it was a safe place, a world where she could escape and find peace. The trees provided shelter, the bushes were a playground, and the silence was comforting. But today, the forest felt different. The air was still, too still, and something made her feel uneasy. She darted between trees, chasing the flickering shadows, trying to shake the odd feeling crawling up her spine. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the ground, Whiskers slowed her pace, ears twitching. She paused for a moment, trying to listen for anything unusual, but everything seemed quiet. Maybe she was imagining things. Meanwhile, in the distance, Max was taking his usual evening stroll, sniffing around the familiar paths. The wind shifted, carrying a strange scent to his nose. He paused, his body tense, his eyes darted toward the woods. The air was thick with tension. Then, a scream echoed through the trees, sharp and desperate. Max's instincts kicked in. Without thinking, he sprinted toward the sound. The cat was in danger, and Max was determined to save her, no matter what it took. Whiskers didn't have time to react. The tiger sprang from the bushes, its powerful muscles propelling it forward with terrifying speed. The air seemed to freeze, the world narrowing to the sight of the beast closing in on her. Her eyes went wide with fear, and in that split second, she turned and ran, her paws pounding against the earth. She could hear the tiger's roar as it followed, its claws scraping the ground as it closed the gap between them. Whiskers darted through the trees, weaving in and out of the thick underbrush. But no matter how fast she ran, the tiger was always there, its presence looming like a shadow. Her lungs burned with the effort, and her legs were starting to feel weak. Every sound around her seemed louder. The roar of the tiger, the rustling leaves, her own frantic breath. She could feel the tiger's hot breath on her tail as it chased her down, its growls shaking the ground beneath her. She spotted a narrow gap between two large trees, a chance to escape. With a burst of energy, Whiskers dashed toward it, squeezing to the tight space just as the tiger lunged. The cat's heart raced, and she looked back, hoping she'd lost the tiger. But it was too close. Its claws slashed the bark, and the tiger squeezed through the gap, its eyes locked on her. Max's heart raced as he sprinted through the forest, following the sounds of struggle. He could hear the growls of the tiger and the frantic cries of the cat. He knew he had to act quickly. His paws hit the ground hard, and he pushed himself faster, ignoring the fatigue in his muscles. He could see the flash of orange and black through the trees, and with every step, the situation grew more urgent. He had to get there, and fast. As Whiskers scrambled higher in the tree, hoping the tiger couldn't follow, she could see it below, growling in frustration. The cat's energy was draining, her claws slipping against the bark as she tried to climb higher. But the tiger wasn't giving up. Its eyes never left her, and it was determined to catch her. Max wasn't there yet. Time was running out. Whiskers was running out of options. With a sudden, deafening bark, Max burst into the clearing. His eyes locked onto the tiger, and in an instant, he knew what had to be done. Without hesitation, Max charged toward the predator. The tiger, caught off guard by the dog's appearance, paused for a fraction of a second. That's all Max needed. The dog lunged, his teeth snapping at the tiger's side. The tiger growled in surprise, swiping at Max with a massive paw. But Max dodged quickly. The dog didn't hesitate, using his size and speed to circle the tiger. Every move Max made was calculated, every growl a challenge. He wasn't just protecting the cat. He was fighting for her life. Max's muscles rippled as he moved, constantly keeping the tiger on its toes. The cat, still perched in the tree, watched in awe. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. The dog was putting himself in harm's way to protect her. The tiger roared again, its fury rising as it swiped at Max, narrowly missing. Max wasn't backing down. He kept moving, never letting the tiger focus on anything but him. The tiger, now more focused on the dog than the cat, growled in frustration, trying to land a hit. Max wasn't giving up. His body was exhausted, and his wounds were starting to sting, but he pressed on. He knew he had to keep the tiger distracted long enough for the cat to escape. Max's breath came in heavy bursts, but he refused to stop. His jaws snapped at the tiger's face, and he kept moving, forcing the predator to back off. The tiger, finally realizing that this dog wasn't going to back down, growled in rage. It turned its attention fully on Max, its powerful body tensing for another attack. Max was quick, leaping aside just in time as the tiger's claws swiped the air where he had been a moment before. The dog had learned the tiger's patterns and was ready to react. He wasn't just fighting for survival anymore. He was fighting for a friend. With a burst of energy, Max lunged forward again, this time aiming for the tiger's throat. The tiger, surprised, staggered back, its teeth bared in anger, but it was clear the fight was turning. Max had been relentless, and the tiger was starting to falter. Finally, after a long battle, the tiger, exhausted and defeated, let out one last growl. It turned away, its massive body retreating into the shadows of the forest. Max stood tall, panting heavily, blood dripping from the scratches and bites he had taken. But he had won. The tiger was gone. Whiskers, her heart racing, carefully climbed down from the tree. She could hardly believe what she had just witnessed. The dog had saved her. Max, her unlikely hero, stood beside her, his eyes tired but proud. Max limped over to Whiskers, his tail wagging weakly. Despite the exhaustion, he gave her a gentle nudge. Whiskers, still shaken, nuzzled him in gratitude, her eyes filled with admiration. She had never known a creature as brave as Max. From that moment on, the two became inseparable. Whiskers had always thought she was alone in the world, but now she had a protector, a friend. Max, who had always been a lone wolf of sorts, had found companion in the most unlikely of places. They walked side by side through the forest, both knowing they had been through something that had changed them forever. The bond between them was unspoken, but it was there, deep and unbreakable. Max had given everything to save her, and Whiskers would never forget it. Together, they had faced the worst, and together they had survived. From that day on, no tiger or danger could ever come between them. They were a team. As the sun set, casting a golden glow over the forest, the dog and the cat walked together, ready for whatever adventures lay ahead. They were stronger than ever before.